of mine. I'm a gold prospector here in the northeast of Victoria in Australia, and we do all types of gold prospecting, including metal detecting, sluicing, panning, as well as treasure hunting for relics, and occasionally we even go looking for gemstones. Not that I'm particularly good at that. These live streams are specifically designed so I can do cleanups to future videos so that you can see the whole process from start to finish, and also an opportunity for me to answer some of your questions. I get such a high volume of correspondence from people right across the globe. It's next to impossible for me to get back to everyone or even a percentage of the people that contact me. So this is the way that we can easily do that. Now, with all that being said, I want to just quickly direct your attention to the description below, where you're going to find a few links that you might find very interesting regarding this live stream. The first link is we're giving away a brand new panning kit to someone completely free, just as a thank you for liking and sharing one of my older videos. That is the very first thing that you are going to say, that's the very first link you're going to see. I read a comment and then I combined the comment with what I was saying. It's not a smart move as a YouTuber. So that's the very first link. And then the next thing that you want to be drawn to is some of the competitions that I'm running on Patreon at the moment. I'm giving away a Gold Pro scoop. The very next video that you're going to see, which is where this gold came from, is going to show you what that scoop is all about. It is a really cool piece of gold prospecting engineering. And we're also only 500 subscribers away from getting 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future gold prospecting or metal detecting adventures. Right, that's all the formalities out of the way. Let's get straight into it. I've seen a bunch of people come up in the comments, so hello to everyone who has jumped into chat. Your fiance got mad because I was going to say I love you, Chris. Love you too, man. Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone who is in chat today. I know it's probably very early in the AM for a lot of people over in Canada and the USA, but hopefully people in, perhaps I'm thinking England and the UK and here in Australia, will be able to enjoy this stream. Now, this concentrate that we're working today, which is all in this bucket, there's not much in there, there's only a tiny little bit, but the concentrate in there is from a spot that Gadsy found. Now, this spot is a floodplain, so it's a nice big wide area. It stretches out to probably 10, maybe 15 meters at its widest point, and it's dead flat, and it also slightly runs uphill. And what that means is when the floodwaters come down the creek, and the floodwaters in this creek get up to 20 foot high above the original creek level. So that's quite a big flood. When the flood comes down the creek and hits that side floodplain, it acts like, well, because it's got to go uphill, it acts like a sluice. It slows everything down. Because the water's got to go up, all the friction on the bed of that flood channel is quite high. And what happens is all the rock and gold falls out and settles on this sticky clay. Now, this sticky clay is former dredge tailings from a bucket dredge that was run there back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And that bucket dredge laid in tailings for literally tens of kilometers up this creek. Now, it's a super sticky clay and it's got nothing in it. There's no gold, there's no nothing. Like, they were really proficient at getting the gold out of this dredge and not losing very much of it at all. But because of how sticky it is, it works like sticky tape, and the gold is sitting in this sort of 1-inch layer right on top of that clay. And we come along with shovels and we scrape it up. Now, I've left a link in the description to a video that we actually filmed in the same area, but you won't see us using this process. Where we filmed that video is right at the start of where that sticky clay is, and we actually got a really decent take of gold from not a lot of work. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you some of the equipment that I've got here. I've got a very basic cleanup setup, and with some luck, we're going to see some good color. This is not 100% of the concentrates. Because of the sluice I was using, which gave me a lot, I'm actually saving some of it to clean up in the blue bowl for the video that I'm going to release. So what you're going to see is a portion of it, but it should have some pretty decent gold, because we were getting in around 20 to 30 specs per pan, and we did, I think, 4 buckets of concentrates, classified concentrates, which is, there's 5 buckets to a 10, no, hang on, there's 3 pans to a 10-liter bucket, so there's 6 pans to a 20-liter bucket, and that's unclassified, and we were classifying. So there's a lot of concentrate that we went through. I'll stop blabbering, turn you around, and I'll show you. Right, flip you around. Woo, dropping my stuff bottle. Okay, so here's our stuff. Now, the equipment I've got is really basic. We've got 1 pan to pan off in, and we've got another pan to pan off in, because we're going to classify to a couple of different sizes today. I've just got a Garrett Super Sluice filled with fresh water, and, well, fresh-ish, because it's still got the tailings in it from the last live stream. And it's also got a surfactant in there, which is just dishwashing soap. Now, dishwashing soap breaks the surface tension. Gold is hydrophobic. It does not like to get wet, and it stops it from floating away. So here we have a 30 mesh and a 50 mesh screen. And I thought it'd be interesting, because normally I only classify for these streams down to the 30 mesh. But if we stack these up, we can get plus 30 mesh, minus 30 mesh, and minus 50 mesh all in one hit. These are our concentrates in here. They've been sitting outside. It's even complete with a real Australian spider down the bottom. See him? Oh yeah, there we go. So we're just going to tip all that out, hopefully not the spider, into our scrids. Now guys, I can't really read the comments when I'm doing this, so I do apologize if I miss some important questions. It has to be said that Debbie is in chat. She is one of my moderators, and she, oh, I think I tipped the spider in there. I did. Cool. That's a whitetail, so I don't really want to pick it up. Try and get it with a pair of scissors to come up. I don't kill spiders either, guys. You know what, Mr. Spider? You're just going to go for a fun bit of classification here. You know, I offer for you to get out. Are you going to get out now? Look at him. See him? Right there. What a jerk. Oh, I got to get him out. I'm going to have to. Tweezers? Oh, I've got tweezers over here. So it's a whitetail, guys, and for the Australians over here, they will know all about that, but for the overseas folks, it's not a spider you particularly want. No, I don't want to squish you, buddy. You don't particularly, you're making this, oh, you little jerk. You don't want it on your skin, because they can melt your skin, literally melt it. Oh, maybe that's not a whitetail. Got red legs. It can't be a whitetail. I don't know what that is in that case. It's a thing. I'm sure this makes for riveting live stream viewing. Me trying to capture a spider with a pair of tweezers, because I can't tip him out. I don't want to squish him with the concentrates. We'll just shake the concentrates a bit more. Piss him right off, because it's not going to take too long to get that. All right. Cool. All these oversized ones and the spider are going back in the bucket. There we go. Okay, now a good percentage of our gold is going to be in this classification. This is plus 50 mesh, minus 30. So we will get a decent show of color coming out in this concentrate. And what we're going to do is pan this off separately in my Garrett pan over there. Now, all of this stuff, we should see a really good showing of gold in here, because a lot of gold from Reedy Creek is very fine. So I've got the other pan here. I'll tip that in there. Now, if you are interested in the classifiers that I'm using, I love these little things. I picked them up. Where was that from? What's their name? I got Reed's Prospecting in my head. That's not where I picked these up from. Damn. I'm going to have to think about that. Where did I get them from? I know I got them from somewhere, but they're good. They're good. They come in a set. You can buy a whole bunch of them. Right. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Which ones do you want to see? Which one do you want to see first? Do you want to see the plus 50 mesh, minus 30 mesh, or do you want to see the under 50 mesh? I've got a feeling there's going to be more gold in this classification, but this is where our chunky bits are going to be. We've got one person. Damon's going for bigger classification. Moto Miner Moto Mining loves spiders, but he's kidding. Oh, come on, man. Plus 50, plus oversized. Okay, everyone wants to see the potential big stuff. Fair enough. I don't blame you. I should have bought a piece of paper towel in here because I'm doing this on my editing desk. I removed most of the expensive pieces of editing technology. All right. Here is our plus 50 minus 30. Now, don't think there's that many bits of blonde sand in there, so I'm not 100% sure how well we'll get stuff to come off. I have to stand up for this because of the reflection that's coming out of the window. Nah, okay, it's not shifting. We're gonna have to do it the slow way. Now, the reason I also split this, we can already see some of the gold. Maybe a bit closer. Now, the reason I took a small percentage of this concentrate and not a massive chunk of it is because I want to run the blue bowl in it. Otherwise, this would take me a long time. That spider's still in the bucket. He is just chilling out. Poor guy. Oh, get him outside in the rain. Here we go. The plus 50 mesh is usually pretty easy to pan down because the particle sizes are still quite large and they grip water really well and they just get pulled off the edge. Now, as I said on multiple live streams before, just a little bit of a catch up for those who might be new to these lives. The black sand is cassiterite, which is a tin ore. So tin was primarily mined on Reedy Creek more than gold in the late 19th century. And it's non-magnetic, so I can't remove any of this with a magnet at all, which is quite frustrating. That's why we classify. I also know that potters pay an absolute fortune for pure tin. So there's that. Now, the other thing is the reason we classify is because it's non-magnetic, we have to manually remove it. And if you try to get little tiny pieces of gold, especially flat pieces of gold like we've got here, to compete with larger pieces of tin, the gold is always going to lose out. So we just spend a little bit of time making sure that we work our concentrates down with the classifiers to make it easier for ourselves. And this is the best part of our hobby, right? Like, you don't have to... Everyone wants more gold, but really it's about the process. You've got to be enjoying this bit. This bit's so fun. Super enjoyable to sit there, especially today. It's cold and raining and wet and miserable outside. And I can still get some gold prospecting done on my desk with very minimal equipment. Like, honestly, you only need like a small pan, a big pan, and a kitchen sieve, and you could be doing this at home right now. Gotta be careful with this Garrett pan too, because it's not as scuffed up as my other pans, so there's not as much friction to stop little pieces of gold from running away. That's why I keep re-stratifying so often, because I'm watching these tiny pieces of gold try and work their way down the edge of the pan. And I don't want to have to pan this twice. As much as I do enjoy it, panning it twice is just frustrating. It means you've done a bad job. Again, I cannot read questions, guys, so I do apologize. I will, if my throat holds out today, I will open it up for a bit of a question time at the end. In the meantime, you get to hear me having sips of coffee, breathing heavy, and talking crap. Oh yeah. I'm happy to see there is gold in the plus 50 mesh. I just caught a comment while we're waiting. Who enjoyed The Last Jedi? Have not seen it, buddy. I'm probably going to get absolutely smashed in the comments for saying this, but I actually haven't seen any of the Star Wars films. I tried to do it the other day. I got inspired. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch all of them over the next couple of weeks. And I couldn't find it on any streaming service. Very frustrating. So if anyone has any suggestions for that, though, where I could stream all the Star Wars films. So yeah, I haven't seen them. I know. That sort of pop culture stuff just wasn't big in my family. I'm catching up. It's never too late, all right? Don't judge me. I did just see another, who hasn't seen Star Wars? Me! Gadsy, my cameraman, gives me crap about it all the time. Goes on and on and on how he was like an 80s baby, so he watched them all. I was like, oh, well, you know, so was I, but that wasn't a thing. I was too busy playing in the mud, I guess. Oh, they're on the Disney Channel. All right. I'll have to see if I've got that. To watch the original trilogy. Okay, can someone explain to me why you got to watch them backwards? I'm sure that's a very common question, but why do you have to watch them backwards? Because that is going to irritate my brain massively if I don't understand the reason before I start watching. Just a friendly reminder, guys, too, we're only 500 subs away from 100,000 subscribers on my channel. So if you've got any mates, buddies, pals, fake profiles, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so I can get one of those big shiny silver YouTube play buttons and go bury it out in the bush. Moto Mining, 13 away from 500. Good one, man. Nice. I remember my first 500. I made a 500 subscriber video special. See, we're getting there, and we're not seeing a huge amount of gold, guys. But again, Reedy Creek, so it's super, super fine gold. To have anything in this classification, it means you're onto a pretty decent spot. The next one is going to be good. That much I can promise you. I reckon we're going to see a real decent cleanup because we were smashing pans that day. All the test pans were saying it was good. Alright, I could clean this up a little bit more, but we'll move on to the big stuff. I'll just reveal it back for you. Alright? Alright, there we go. Not much, not heaps. Not heaps. But a little bit. And that's in our oversized. So like for Reedy Creek, they're really big flakes. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for a huge quantity of small gold, and that's what we're going to get in this pan. Before I show you that though, guys, check this out. So I pulled this out the same day in the classifier. I believe this is a massive chunk of Jasper. Now, if you caught the live stream where we were high banking out on the creek not too long ago, you would have seen us pull a piece of Jasper out that my admin actually picked the spot through the camera. She said, dig there. So we dug there, and one of the first pans, or what the first pan we did there, we pulled out a nice piece of Jasper, and I sent that up to her. And I've got this one from this video. I'm thinking about possibly giving it away, maybe auctioning it off. I don't know. What do you guys reckon? Let me know. Let me know. Leave a comment. You want to win a nice, beautiful, huge chunk of Jasper? It's silky smooth. Out of Reedy Creek. Cool rock. Let me know what you think. In the meanwhile, I will start doing this. Oh, someone sent through a super chat. New Level Auto, thank you very much for puppy treats. Oh, bro, I just bought her a bunch of puppy treats today. So thank you very much for the puppy treats. I've got gold sticking to the back here. That's kind of annoying. It's gonna make our water nice and dirty. Oh, I think we're getting Moto Mining over the 500. Is that what we're doing, guys? Hell yeah. Man, Moto Mining, if you can, please drop a link to your channel. We'll get you to 500, buddy. We got to do it. Big community effort. I think pretty much every YouTubing prospector who's putting time into creating videos and showing what they do for the craft is offering you a chance to learn something new, whether that be a piece of insight or a technique or how to set up a certain piece of equipment a little bit differently. They all offer something different. And particularly I find the small channels, the guys who are just starting out on YouTube and they haven't been sort of overwhelmed yet by all the comments, they tend to put out content that's a little bit more educational. Like you can really learn some grassroots techniques off these guys. They're showing you stuff that they're doing, and it's far less about the entertainment factor. Nothing wrong with the entertainment factor. Hell, I do it. I know Dan does it. I know Paulie does it. I know Shane does it. But for sure, the smaller guys can come up with some great ideas that you just have not heard from the bigger channels. So it's always worth checking out the guys that only have a few subs, because you never know what you'll learn. Just trying to strip a little bit of that blonde sand that was in there off, and some of the lighter black sands, but I've got gold in the front riffle already, guys, and I don't want to push it. This is still going to take a little while to clean up. I kind of wish I had 100 mesh screen. I've got to buy one, because 100 mesh screen would make this a lot easier. Right, here we go. Oh man, you should I wish I could put a weight, like you guys could feel the weight through the phone, because this thing is dense. Hey, Moto Mining, I just realized that if you have 500 subs and I need 500 subs, you're gonna can we do a sub change so I can get to that 100? I've been grinding at getting the 100k now for almost 5.5 years. It's been a long ride, and I'm pretty keen to see it tick over into those triple digits. I'm not gonna lie, that's going to be a big celebration. I've got something pretty epic planned too for a giveaway for the 100k subs. This is coming away okay. I thought this was going to be a bit slower, but it's not too bad. Indicates one of two things. It either indicates that a lot of the gold is much, much smaller than 50 mesh, and it's actually allowing it to sink through the black sand, because normally you would see that a lot of gold throughout the black sand as you panned it down like this, or there's just not a lot of gold in here, which won't make any sense because there should be. I mean, this is literally just like a handful of dirt that I took for this cleanup. Wait till you see the blue bowl cleanup as well added. We should get a pretty solid result. Yeah, Reg, nah, man. Dan keeps premiering his videos at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's no way I'm staying up to 2 a.m. to watch a video. I can't do that, buddy. I'm too old now. I remember the days when I used to stay up late for fun. Now I go to bed to treat myself. Yeah, it's too hard. I don't know what happened to my boyish enthusiasm in youth, but it's up and disappeared, I tell you what. So yeah, 2 a.m. premiere is not exactly ideal for me. We're getting through this. This is all right. One day I'm going to set up a live stream where we use the blue bowl or a sluice. I am planning that. But I kind of want to do it when we've got like a bunch of concentrates. Like even this, the amount of concentrates in this isn't heaps, so I'm not too fussed on doing that. I just seen a super chat come up too. Hang on, guys. New level auto. Can you explain why a magnet wouldn't help? Okay, so I actually put this right at the start of the stream. It's tin. It's a tin oxide, and well, it's not actually tin, it's tin ore. So if you smelted this, you would extract tin, and tin is non-magnetic, so you cannot use a magnet. I wonder if I've got a magnet sitting up there. Really? Do I not have a magnet there? Okay. So I don't have a magnet in here to show you, but it is non-magnetic. You cannot extract any of this with a magnet. None of it. If you actually, I don't know, Debbie, if you're still in chat, if you're able to find Shane's DT pay dirt review video where he got some Reedy Creek concentrates, which is exactly the same place that this came from, and I know the guy who makes DT pay dirt. Shane struggles with this stuff, and he was fully expecting it to be very easy because he could rip it out because he thought it was going to be magnetite. So I would hazard a guess that 70% of what you're seeing in the pan right now is the tin ore, and the rest of it will be a mixture of very small crushed gemstones. Reedy Creek's famous for gems. We get everything from, at the very rare high end, we get diamonds, and at the lower end you'll get citrines and smoky quartz and things like that, and like the piece of Jasper that I pulled out down there. Now, they get pulverized in this creek because of how hard it floods. And when it does that, it becomes part of these black sands because gemstones are heavier than a lot of other things in the creek. So they tend to sit with the black sand. And there's going to be a little bit of galena, which is lead and silver mixed together, and a few other trace minerals in there as well, all of which are heavy. So the galena is likely the white sand you can kind of see there in the pan. And again, all of these things are non-magnetic. So that's why we can't use a magnet to help. I just saw someone mention about a collaboration with Dan and Andy and all that. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be great to live in an area where you could have access to that sort of, not only that sort of ground, but also the quality content producers? You know, you're talking about like, so Dan and Paulie and Andy, and they all live in pretty close proximity to each other. Like I say, that within easy driving distance of a day, and it just means that they can come together and formulate ideas and plans and videos, and you know they make some of the best content for gold prospecting on YouTube. Period. And I kind of wish I had that. I mean, we've got places here, but with the way that the laws have been over the last 2 years, especially, it has been impossible to travel. Like, I'd love to go down to visit Levi and do some collaborations with him, sniping, and also taking him out up here. And he in fact was just traveling around parts of Australia that weren't locked down, and he couldn't come here because we were in a lockdown area. So it's just stuff like that that's been happening. As this all calms down and eases up a little bit, we should definitely be able to organize some of those collaborations. Now, I just moved it off the snakeskin. So this is the snakeskin section in the XP pans, and this is the smooth edge of that pan. And the reason I did that is because these little dips here tend to fill up with black sand, and the gold scoots over the top, mostly because the gold's flat, and so it won't penetrate that black sand. So if we move it to the smooth edge, it kind of has the opposite effect where it allows the gold to sink. Yeah, I think next time we're going to do a blue ball. What do you reckon, guys? Blue ball or sluice? Do I live far from Perth? Larry, yes, about as far away as you can physically get and still be in Australia. Literally on the other side of the country. Here we go. So look at our superfine gold. Oh, yeah. And again, this is one handful. I've still got probably a quarter of a bucket of concentrate to go through yet. I probably have, oh, I don't know, at least a few more of these sort of takes to go. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out, because I'm hoping for a decent weigh-in, considering the spec count we got. We didn't put in overly much work or hours. We got rained out by a massive thunderstorm that came through. But having said that, this sort of gold is looking good. Look at that. Oh, I just had a piece of gold float of the pan. I don't know if you can make out how sort of shiny this is. That means we've got some sulfides oxidizing out. That looks like pyrite to me. That browny white stuff. Now I'm getting floating gold. Okay, we're going to stop that. I'm going to turn it around. Tap it, tap it, tap it. There you go. So one handful of cons. We got that. Plus we got everything in our plus 50 mesh. In fact, we might just even add that into there. Or no, we won't do that. That would be a dumb idea, because then I'd have to try and separate it. Oh, saved yourself a lot of work there, Chris. Oh, yeah. Miller table. See, I haven't got a Miller table, man. I would love to get one. I should buy one. The blue bowl. I've enjoyed the blue bowl, but man, are they finicky. Like, they constant water adjustment, and that's probably the thing that I don't like about them at all. You know, sometimes it's a little bit easier to pan down like this. Push your pieces of gold back up the top. Pan it down, pan it down, pan it down. And then just suck the black sand up at the end. Also, guys, drift mine. Oh my God, we've had some good days up at the drift mine. I had a good day up there yesterday. We discovered a pay pile, a really good one. We're talking 30 specs per pan. And when we say per pan, we're talking half pan full of classified dirt. And we're talking 30 specs, so probably 60 specs for a full pan. Should mention this technique I'm using too, guys. I'm just using the tilt back and forth method. So we hold the pan at like 30-degree angle, and that's your neutral position, so you can see the water pooling here. And then what we do is we tilt it down. That's your far forward until it goes level, and then we tilt it back fast, and that helps the water come up and pull these pieces of black sand down. And at the same time, I'm shaking side to side on the downstroke, and it just helps jiggle every piece of black sand down. When you start seeing pieces of gold like that, you just push them back up. A few pieces of black sand. Don't want to move, so we'll scrape them down with my finger. All right, that's pretty close. All of that can go in there. All right, cool. That's our plus 50 mesh clean. So we can tip that in there. That is our gold there. Now, having said that, we have got our spider filled fun here. You know what? I'm just going to let this spider crawl out. Get out, get out, get out. No, no, no. Go back, go back, go back. Yep, cool. Yeah. There you go. Cool. Where'd you go? On the table? Yeah, nice. He's underneath the pan. He's down there somewhere. Yeah. Hang on. I'll get him. Oh, he wants to hide in the pan. So what if I move the pan? There he is there. Come on. Come on. All right. There he is there. Got that problem sorted. Now, I wanted to check this. This is why I had to do that. I don't know what's going to be in here. On the off chance that there might be gemstones or something similar, we're just going to check it. Who knows? Okay, Steve. Okay, it's a really good point. Okay, but I need to allay your fears. Before we even check this, I'm going to allay Steve's fears. Give me a second. I'm going to address it because 252 people are going to benefit from the answer to this question. Right, let's get some nice framing, because that's important. There we go. There's some okay framing. Okay. Everything we do on Vo-Gus prospecting is very, very well considered. And when I say that, it's not that we don't miss stuff and we don't make mistakes. Absolutely, we make mistakes. Absolutely, we don't get everything right. What I mean by that is that there is more than me thinking about this, and we're talking about people who have experience in multiple different fields. For instance, Mick used to work in a quarry, a rock quarry, right? Plus he was also in the military, so he has a vast array of experience around a lot of machinery and how big processes work. Then you got people like Steve, who is a career exploration geologist, and so he has experience on industrial scale mining, and he can also tell you exactly why things are happening. And then you got someone like myself, who has learnt prospecting from old timers, people who were literally coming to Australia from overseas to find nothing but gold. I've had the benefit of learning from those decades of experience from these guys. Now we all come together and we all talk about these concepts and ideas. I keep looking at that pan because I'm really keen to see what's in it. Now, when we're talking about, for instance, for the example you gave, you cringe when you see me using the wheelbarrow classifier because we're losing gold. Well, first and foremost, just think about what we're doing and why. We can fill a wheelbarrow, an 80-litre wheelbarrow, so an 8-bucket wheelbarrow, full of 1/4-inch classified dirt in 5 minutes. You cannot do that with any other method other than a large screen, right? So you couldn't fill, there's no way in hell that you could fill one of these buckets up, 8 of these buckets up in 5 minutes to 1/4 inch. Second is, I live in Australia. It's incredibly dry, so we have limited water. Now, you could argue that we could possibly take water up in the wheelbarrow and put the classifier on top, but then you still couldn't get the classifier in the wheelbarrow to wash the rocks properly. So dry classifying that way allows for rapid production of a lot of very fine pay dirt. And we classified it so small. I would put an eighth inch classifier on there if I could, because of how small the gold is. You saw this. 95% of our gold in here is under 50 mesh. Under 50 mesh, 1/50th of an inch. It's tiny. And there are no nuggets near it. We know this through literally years, over half a decade of experience digging in this area, and we have never once found a nugget that would be bigger than my classification screen that I'm currently using. So these are just some of the things that are going into it. So yes, we are losing a little bit of gold. Absolutely. There's going to be gold on the rocks, and there's going to be gold in the conglomerate that isn't broken up at those drift mines. There's going to be gold in a lot of those places. That doesn't mean we don't have future plans to process those sort of things. It just means that right now, what we're trying to do is get maximum production from the available resources that we have. We're dealing with puddles of water. There's no free-flowing water up there. So they fill up with mud extraordinarily quickly. And regulating how we take water away from that pool and how we introduce soils to it is so important, so that we're able to process while we have water there. In the future, we're going to be doing things like dry blowing and doing some metal detecting primarily for relics up there. And on the off chance that there is something bigger up there in terms of gold, we might find it. So these are some of the thought processes that you don't get to see in my videos. There's a lot of consideration and planning and talk behind why we do what we do. And it's just something worth noting that on your end, if you're looking at these videos from a perspective of not actually being there, just bear in mind that what you're not seeing behind the scenes is all of that work. That's probably the best way I can put it. So we're not really losing gold either, because it's just sitting on the ground. We know exactly where it is, right? And you got to remember that if I got, say, 0.5 gram out of 80 liters of classified dirt, then the pile of rocks that might have 1/2 bucket's worth of dirt stuck to them is not going to give me overly much. So it's not really, it's not really worth chasing. Right. On that note, we are going to jump straight into panning off the oversized. Let's see what's in the oversized. Woo, flip that around, get off my face. Bam. No, I said bam. There we go. Ah, get this here. What's going on? Yeah, Damon G, an acceptable loss. Every system has loss. No matter what you guys want to believe, if you're into gold prospecting, you have at least some loss. I can guarantee it. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of those floaties because they irritate me. I can see a shotgun pellets. That's something. All right, here we go. Now let's just pan it back. Let's just see. So we did get some plus size. Oh my God, there's a piece of gold. Are you kidding? There's a piece of gold. There's a piece of gold. No. No. Okay, first of all, a shoot gun pellet. So we were definitely prospecting. I'll put that in the tailings. But there's a piece of gold. Can you guys freaking see that? No freaking way. It happened on a bloody live stream. All right. All right. Imagine if it was more than one. I'm pretty stoked with one. But ooh, oh, I'm not going to say it until I'm sure. That's a specimen. Is that a specimen? It's moving funny. But it looks like gold. I don't know. I can't tell. Where'd it go? And then, that's not. It's just reflecting light funny. Bastard. But we got a piece of gold. No freaking way. Look at that. That is massive for Reedy Creek. I can't even pick it up. This is not a common occurrence at all on Reedy Creek. I know, it's not like a mass. Come on, here we go. I know it's not a massive nugget, but for this area, that is freaking massive. I can't believe I'm lucky we checked that. Normally, I don't even really worry about it. I just sort of glance in it, but that's lucky. There you go. All right, I shall plonk that in there. Bloop. Well, that was pretty cool. I can live with that. That was fun. So guys, we're going 42 minutes. Let's do a little bit of a Q&A. Framing, guys. It's important. Gotta have a good aesthetic, right? I got Fern asleep behind me. And I will wait for any questions to come through and sip on the last tiny little dreg of coffee I've got. Mono mining, what kind of chair is this? Well, between doing live streams, editing for days at a time, and playing games and live streaming, I went out and bought myself a chair that's actually pretty good. I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, dude. Sean Felton, I can only see a couple of comments too, guys, so if I miss it, just keep asking. I'm good, man. I'm good. I've had a good day. What happened to the gold miner? He moved away, bro. He moved over to South Australia, I believe. So he, he lived out in Reedy Creek for years and did all sorts of stuff. But then he went back. I believe he has family over there. So yeah, he just moved back over to South Australia. That's what happened to him. Coffee or beer? Coffee. Not a fan of beer, man. Not a fan. Cider. Like cider. Beretta Road Chronicles. That's a long story, man. I'll explain that one day. One day. Also, just notice we've got 229 people watching and 165 likes. Come on, guys. Gotta hit up the old thumbs up button for us. How cool are Stumpy Picks? Stumpy Picks are awesome. So I actually got a chance to meet Stumpy, and he gave me a wicked pick. If you have not seen Stumpy Picks, they're handmade, and you are going to struggle to break one. They're really worth it. Debbie, if you're able to, or Gadsy, if you're able to put Stumpy's Picks website in the chat, that'd be awesome. I saw a question. Okay, what video editing software do I use? I use a video editing program called Filmora. So whilst there's a lot more advanced programs that you could use, they don't offer me anything that I would use. Filmora has pretty much everything that I want and even a little bit more. So Filmora, if you're interested in creating videos, not necessarily for prospecting, but if you're interested in creating videos for whatever reason, Filmora is a great way to get into it. There's heaps of tutorials. There's 3 different levels of programs. There's like a Filmora Junior program, which is just a really simple version. So if you're not really technologically minded, you can just jump into editing and put clips together and do some really basic stuff. Then there's Filmora X, which is what I primarily use. And then there's Filmora Pro, and I use that for some stuff that I need to get right, but not very often. Okay, that was a good question. I can't. Oh, bloody chat. When you test ban, how deep do you dig before expecting to see flood gold? Um, how to put this simply? When I first started, I was really, really confused by where I should be testing. And what I learned over a period of time was that you should be testing absolutely everything. I mean, the gooey, mucky bullcrap that sits in amongst reeds right on top. You should be testing sand. You should be testing sand even if it's like 5 foot deep. You should be testing sand. You should be testing loose gravels that don't appear to have very much dirt, uh, and everything in between. You should be testing well above the creek, like well above. Do not be afraid to be 500 meters from the creek. If you see an indicator of river gravel anywhere, test it, because in the time that I've done this now full time, I found gold in every single one of those spots, and sometimes in significant quantities right on the surface. So the lesson is that there is no hard and fast rule about what kind and how deep and what you should be looking for. There's no rule. Gold is where you find it, and the only way you're going to find it is to do a test pan. I would challenge you that on your days that you go out to make a hard and fast rule that you do not stop, no matter how good the gold is that you find, you do not stop until you've done at least 10 pans from different areas, because that's going to give you a really clear picture of your area, what kind of gold's in your area, and you might accidentally find a spot that everyone else has overlooked. That's how I found that car park gold. That's how I found some of the absolute best deposits of gold in my life by simply, I remember one day I was out with Steve. It was the end of the day. It was super hot. And I said to him, I'm doing one last pan. I'm going home. I scraped a whole bunch of sand off at about shoulder height off this inside bend, and it looked like crap. I was like, there's no chance, but I just wanted to do one pan and just sort of like finish my day on it. And I would have pulled 150 pieces of gold out of that pan. And that deposit lasted for about 3 months because everyone else walked past it, because there was some really nice bedrock around there and everyone went to the bedrock, and there was some really nice inside bend gravel bars around there and they all went to that, and everyone ignored the sand for God knows how long. That's why you test everywhere. So next time you go out, 10 test pans from random spots. Pick a couple of spots you think it is, and then pick spots that you never would assume would have gold. Spots that you feel intuitively that are wrong, and keep doing that. And the more you do it, the more you'll learn, and the better you'll understand. Yeah, the better you'll understand your area. Right. So that was a long answer, but that's why it's hard to explain. Glenn, Earlier on, I think I saw Hilly asking if he could go out. Look, I get asked this a lot, right? I don't really take people out, and it's nothing personal. Things do happen. I bump into subscribers on the creek or in town, and sometimes we meet up and all that sort of stuff. But it's difficult when you're in my position with the amount of people that I've got following me and the amount of requests that I get, especially because a lot of people I've found in the past have just wanted to know spots. They haven't wanted to learn or get to know me or do, like they haven't, it wasn't a personal hobby thing. It was always about wanting to come in and pillage some of the spots that I'd found. And so that sort of left a bit of taste in my mouth. And so now when I do it, I'm pretty cautious about who I take out and when. When it comes to collaborations, I'm completely up for doing collaborations. But on that note, I do like to get to know the person first because then it helps you sort of, it helps create ideas and a bond, and the videos that come out of it feel more natural. So I hope that makes sense. It's a mixture of practicality and being pragmatic about your responsibilities. Now I saw someone wanted to see Fern, so there she is, passed out. She's had a massive morning of training, an absolutely huge morning of training. Man, it was going to be it's going to be big. Are you going to do a hard copy of my book? I was doing hard copies, but I stopped because it was really, really impractical. Having said that, I've got to get off my lazy behind and actually finish the second version of that book, and that's going to be in hardcover. So I'm not going to go into that today because it's just a lot. You need a little more variety in your video uploads. I think I had a pretty good variety with you crevicing, river sluicing, high banking, cleanups at home, these live streams, metal detecting, hard rock crushes. Uh, yeah, I feel like that's a lot of variety, but that might just be me. So I have a question of asking how long it takes me to edit a video. A 10-minute video will take me about a day, like 8 hours to edit, give or take. How big is a piece of gold before it's a nugget? That depends on that depends on your area. That's why it's ambiguous. So like golden triangle, I would say a nugget wouldn't start until you're at least over a gram because they've found multiple kilogram nuggets over there, right? But a nugget here would be anything over maybe a 0.15 because they just don't exist. Yeah, so I think it depends on your area. That's it. That's your trick. Reading comments, guys. Yeah, man. I might have missed the other ones. YouTube for a long time was not recommending my videos to subscribers and even unsubscribing people. And it was a real pain in my behind because people were like, oh, why don't you do this? I'm like, I literally did that like 2 videos ago. And they're like, no, you didn't. And then you post a link and they're like, oh, I missed it. So if you're not getting notifications, whatever, check your subscription because for whatever reason, YouTube has unsubscribed a bunch of people from my channel. But yeah, like literally most of the time we are sluicing or panning because that's what we do here. But I've got plenty of metal detecting, I've got plenty of ore crushing, I've got plenty of like ASMR, the camp building. Like there's heaps. There's 550 videos on my channel from everything from geocaching, archery, camping, all the way through to gold prospecting, like metal detecting, sniping, sluicing, panning. So 550 videos. I promise you have not seen them all. Where is local for me? Beechworth, man. Beechworth's my local. That's probably the closest place. Oh, that's a good one. How often should you clean up a river sluice? It depends on what you're dealing with. So I've shown this with high banking videos several times on this channel where Reedy Creek black sands because they're tin, they don't they're so heavy and the gold's so flat that as soon as the sluice fills up the riffles in the mesh, you end up with a situation where there's no room or no way for the gold to sink through the black sand and into the mat because of how flat it is. The friction's too high, so you have to clean it out. So when we get basically 2/3 of the top of the mat filled with black sand, we clean out the sluice. Now, a river sluice is exactly the same sort of principle. It depends on the type of matting. We're using in that case minus moss and expanded mesh. So there's a sort of a capacity to it in this situation. On other creeks, there's more predominant ironstone, and ironstone isn't as dense as what that black sand is, and so it tends to open up and allow the gold through, and we can run those sluices all day. Having having said that, things like Dream Mat also require a level of black sand in them to create friction to keep the gold in the cells. So in that case, you would clean it out if the cells stopped moving. And what I mean by that is you should be seeing in any vortex mat system, the cells keep the dirt agitated. They're doing a little dance back and forth. If they're not doing that, then you're losing gold. And that's how you can also tell if your sluice is set up correctly. So it's just a fine balance between the soil that you're running and the type of gold that you've got. I hope that makes a bit of sense. Reading. Can gold be found anywhere? No. It's pretty much everywhere, but not in visible quantities. Gerard I can't pronounce your Kavangar. $2 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, I've got a invite up to Gympie in Queensland. I've also got an invite out to the Northern Territory. So I would love to do some traveling. The problem I've got at the moment is I'm paranoid, obviously, for reasons that people who followed the channel for a long time would know about Bates and Fern. So I'm hesitant at the moment. I've got a bit of trip hesitancy. It's definitely possible. I could probably go now just based on the industry that I'm in. But yeah. Have I got any plans for retirement in gold mining? No. No, I really like this. I really, really like this. It's super enjoyable. One day maybe I'll stop YouTube and Facebook and all that because you can't predict what will happen in the future. But I really lost. Oh, there we go. Australian internet run by a hamster, right? We're back. It's all good. So nah, one star puppy, we're back. Yes, winner. I used to like the Wilson's bait pumps, but the Wilson bait pumps they're $70, and if they break, they break. Ever since Gadsy made me the super mega sucker pump from PVC pipe, I've really enjoyed that for a few different reasons. I've shown it on multiple videos about using different size PVC pipes. They're super cheap to make. They're really easy to repair in the field. And you can pretty much do anything you want with them. Plus, they reduce weight in your backpack. Like, there's a lot of positives there. There's a couple of negatives in terms of its sort of draw power. It won't suck up the dirt quite as far into the tube, which gives you a bit less time to move to your pan. But that's manageable. That's something you can adjust, and I don't mind that. So yeah, so I really like that. If you haven't seen Gadsy's video, I don't know if you're still here, Gadsy, if you're here, put the link up to that video, man, because they cost like $20 to $30 to make, depending on the size. Yeah, definitely check out that video. Do you still use your monster? Yeah, man, I just filmed a video with the monster a couple of days ago that will be coming out in the near future. Am I afraid to go into the drift mines because of collapsing on you? Abso-freaking-lutely. I have never been in the drift mines, man. Other than that one shot where I just stuck my back end in, because that's sketchy as. There's no way I'd be going into that. Mick said he would because he's a brave mother rudder. See, hang on. I don't see that where that comment went. Where did that comment go? I did a vid sniping mercury. Good thing I had 2 snuffers that day. Did you fill the snuffers up? Did you fill snuffers up with mercury, man? That's hectic. There we go. Gadsy's just put up the link, guys. So if you haven't seen that video on how to make your own Yabby pump, go and watch Gadsy's video because they are good. They are really, really good. They're especially for people who are on a budget, right? Because you can get all the benefits without having to lay out $70 to $100 and no shipping and all that sort of stuff. It's just made from PVC. I swear you could probably break bits off your house to make it. 5 grams of mercury that day. There was a ball of amalgam at the bottom. Oh, bro, that's hectic. That's a lot of mercury. That's a bunch of mercury. Well, I just noticed we're going over the hour, guys. Just for the sake of my throat and being able to use it later, I am going to stop there. So I do want to say thank you very much for tuning in. If you caught all of the stream, thank you very much. And for all of your questions, I will be doing more of these. So if you've got questions and I haven't answered you in the comments or in private messages on Facebook or emails or whatever, this is where you really should be doing it because it allows me to interact with you guys a lot easier and I can get a lot more information out very quickly. On that note, don't forget to check out all of the description below because, like I said, there's a free panning kit to win. There's a whole heap of links to other things where you can win prizes such as the Gold Pro Scoop that I got going up on my Patreon. And also, yes, the 100K from 510 Prospecting. That's right. I'm so close to 100K. So if you haven't already, please check your subscription status because YouTube boots people all the time. It's really annoying. And invite your mates over if they do enjoy prospecting so I can finally get that silver play button and bury it in the middle of the bush for someone to find in 100 years. All right. Thank you. Peace, guys. I'm out. Bye.